Hey everyone, welcome to the last edition of Lessons from My Mentor for 2023. So I'm going to take the week off next week, so we won't be dropping until the new year. So I thought it would be appropriate to kind of do a sort of an end of year, new year topic that comes from a mentor back in the early 90s, Pastor Rick Homestad. And you're probably wondering what happened to Ed's eye. So I'm going to explain that really quick. So I've had some Mohs surgery recently, which is a surgery when you have like precancerous conditions on your skin, or actually it's cancer. And they go in and take it out. It comes from, really bad sun damage control in my past. Um, when I was a kid, always playing tennis or soccer out there on the soccer field, never used that I recall sun motion. And so now I'm paying for it. So I'll get these. I've had a couple now where they do these little micro surgeries. It could be anywhere in your body. For me, it's been on my face. And then they just like dig in. If you've ever had this, I'll explain it really quick. They sort of dig and take out sample tissue. And then they basically do a frozen section, check it out in the lab while it's still open. So you usually stay in the room, kind of wait. And then if they still find cancer on the edges, then they'll keep digging down. I've been very fortunate. None of my surgeries have required digging down. My dad, however, has had a lot of digging down all the way to his skull. So don't want that to happen. So in the last few years, I've been very smart about sun protection, but a lot of it's damage done from the past. So anyways, so I had a lot of work done, a lot of discoloration. So don't freak out. You should see what the doctor looks like. Okay, so back to the topic of, last session, end of the year. If I could leave you with one thing, and hopefully through the first, few episodes, you picked up enough on it that you should be saying to yourself, I need to have a mentor. Remember, my definition of a mentor is much different than what most are. Because as I told you, if I say, hey, who has a mentor? Almost everyone raises their hand. I say, well, who have you, do you have a regular cadence with them? Most hands drop down. Do you have a contract with them? All hands drop down. When I talk about a mentor, I'm talking about a contracted relationship with someone where they are committed in writing to what your goals are and to you. And it's a fixed amount of time. And it works great. You actually use it as your marketing tool to get them to say yes, because you're like, it's really easy. Look at my responsibilities. I'll have an agenda each time we meet. It's only for 1 year. It's only one times a month for 90 minutes, and then they feel like, okay, I can handle this. I can do this. And then I'll provide a report at the end of our time about all the things I learned. So the contract, I think I already offered it to you. If you haven't gotten it, I'm happy to share it with you. Just reach out to me. So you should have that already, but just in case, why I have a mentor. So this is what the pastor said for the pulpit one time. He was very emotional. He usually didn't speak like this, but I'm going to tell you the exact words that he used. He usually doesn't speak like this, but there were some things that happened in our church where had this person not had this type of relationship in his life, going through the trauma that they went through, it would have been a disaster. That person's life was over. But because they had this mentoring in this person's life, his life was saved. So this is what Pastor Rick said in summary of the story and testimony. He says, if you're not in a mentoring relationship, you're stupid. Now, normally pastors don't speak like that, a little softer, but he was so emotional about it because it was so traumatic. And I'll never forget that. I was like, man, that's truth. However you have to say it, that is truth. And I think I would tell you the same thing. And I don't care what level of position you are, manager, director, vice president, CEO. I think you're stupid if you don't have a mentor. So why have a mentor? One is too small a number for greatness. If you are fully dependent on yourself, obviously you have a team and stuff like this, but now I'm talking about your personal development. If you're only dependent on yourself, you have limited yourself, because by nature, you can't scale it yourself. But if you have someone else speaking into your life, challenging you, being a truth teller, you've just scaled. I cannot imagine not having a mentor and being left to my own self. Now, I do a lot of things like all of you do. I read a lot, all the different things we've talked about. I speak a lot, I write a lot, I do all these different things so I can keep learning, talk to other people, interview them. But man, if I didn't have a mentor, I'd be in big trouble. So that is the first one. And John Maxwell gets credit for that, saying, one is too small, a number for greatness. Two is we're wired for this. We're wired for these sort of relationships. I believe we're built this way, that whatever your belief system is, that we're pre-wired to have others in authority speak to us and for us to receive, listen, and then give it back and give it to someone else. So I don't know how to unpack that more for you. That one's pretty obvious. The other thing is, if you do this, like if you remember my style, you can do your own style. My style was every other year, a formal mentor. Every odd year, I would mentor someone in the same contracted type of relationship. Now think about this. Over a course of 20 years, it's been longer for me, but easy math. That is 10 people who I've spent 1 year with and gotten to know quite closely. Because, as much as you'll talk about business and leadership stuff, you also talk about personal things. I'll never forget, this is definitely a rabbit trail, but I'll just never forget the profoundness of this. Is one time, and I won't tell you who it was, but one time it switched, the mentoring relationship switched. And the person asked if I thought they were lonely. And that's kind of hard because this person was a couple levels above me. But I was like, well, hey, we have this contracted relationship. The values are in there. It's about honesty and truth. And I said, yeah. And it was like this amazing moment. But I'm telling you that because it bonded us. So 10, 15 years later, if I have an issue, if I'm struggling with something, that person answers the phone. I have, again, for easy math, it's more than this. I have 10 people that I can call, that I can text at any time. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired. Oh my gosh, I'm in a dilemma. I have no idea what to do. I'll get 10 responses. How many people can say that you have 10 people that you are that close with, that it doesn't matter whether it's a divorce, something personal or something professional, getting fired, or that'll be there for you. That's why you're stupid if you don't if you don't build this up. So that's another one. The other thing is, many people say, and there's been some studies that show this, that you are really the reflection of like the people that you spend the most time with, the 4 or 5 people that you allowed to speak the most into you. And so think about that and write it down sometimes. It might scare you, and if you have these amazing mentor relationships and you start writing down that list, and there's all these really great people that care about you, you're probably becoming like them, the good things of them that they fed into you. So why wouldn't you do this? The only thing, well, let me leave it with this last thing, and then I'll tell you, I'm going to go off one slight rabbit trail again, is it's a giving back. Because as much as you're helping, they're helping you, you're actually helping them. That's probably the most common feedback I've ever received, is when we do the 1 year wrap-up meeting. It's like, I'll tell them, these are the 30 things I learned from you. And they're like, Ed, I want to tell you something. You've done so much. And you're surprised, right? Because you never intentionally did it. You're just being yourself. And so it's an opportunity to give back. All right. So I'm going to leave you with one thing. So hopefully I gave you 4 or 5 reasons right there to encourage you to go into January and find a mentor. The one thing I would tell you, what keeps people from doing it is pride and arrogance, because we're afraid. So there's rejection. What if the person says no? I think I may have said this already in one of the previous episodes. No one has ever told me no. Okay. And I've asked, 15, 20 times now. No one's ever said no, especially if you have that contract and you tell them how easy it is and there's a limit. 2, we have this pride that's like, well, I'm asking for help. I'm a CIO. Shouldn't I already be everything that I need to be? And me going to the CEO or the CFO or a peer like I do, isn't that a sign of weakness? No. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of strength. So the third thing is, and again, it's related to pride and arrogance, but it's just, it's opportunity to show humility and build relationship. So look at it that way. Don't look at it as a weakness, but like opportunity. So I really encourage you in this, if you've gotten anything, any value out of the previous episodes, and I hope you have, it's your turn to make a move. Because I bet most of you, if you're like the average, 90% of you do not have a formal mentor. So go develop a formal mentoring relationship. Go back to some of the earlier episodes where I talk about how to identify those mentors and make it happen. And you'll be a changed person this time next year. We always say, I always want to change. And a year goes by and you're like, I didn't really change all that much. Well, having a mentor will change you because they'll keep you accountable. I'll end with this, I promise. I'll name this person, Kevin Roberts, my mentor from what I tell you, like 2002. Still my buddy, still texting and helping one another 20 some years later. So it's real. What I'm sharing with you is absolutely real and life-changing. All right. Have a happy new year. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, however you celebrate. I hope it's a great one.